Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Michelle Andrews, and on other social media platforms I am Onu Michelle on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. So welcome back. And today we're going to talk about the dating apps. And being a woman in an African continent, I want to teach you all that are trying to date someone on the dating app, what you're not supposed to do there on the dating app, So I understand like so many people are in maybe more than 3 dating apps. And I just want to teach you what I feel you need to know. I know it can help you somewhere, it can help your friends somewhere. And so let's begin. So it's gonna be the do's and don'ts of the dating app. So we're going to start with number one thing: what usually turns people off, or what usually makes someone you've been talking to block you, or just to make you not be able to text them back or call them back. Okay, what you're not supposed to do actually, and what women what you're not supposed to do, and what most women tend to do, is to ask money on the first sight. Like if you're dating someone, if you've gotten someone on the dating app and they're trying to be interested in you, in trying to know who you are, where you live, how you survive in Africa, what it feels like being in Africa, your family and shit, you're not supposed to start asking them for money immediately. You have to wait. And I would even advise not to begin asking for money. I think you have to just wait, because if he clearly states what he wants with you, then I think there you can be able to know what to expect of him, because I believe if someone is interested in you, they'll definitely take care of you, and they will definitely spoil you. I mean, send you an allowance if they have it. So you going there starting to ask for money really is a big turn off. So when you ask them for money, especially when you're in African continent, I think it's not a good idea. It's really a bad idea, because like they understand most African women are, in Africa we have to struggle for anything. Like the government doesn't give us anything. We struggle literally for everything, from food to clothing and everything. So there's definitely been so many other women out there who've tried this trick of asking them money, immediately on the first day. So this has created a notion on them, thinking that African women just like asking for money, and it's just like business. Understand, on this dating app there's other women who are doing other businesses of sending nudes and shit. So if you ask money on the first sight, definitely it makes you look like some kind of gold digger or something. So don't ask money on the first sight. It usually is a big turn off, because some people have even managed to come up with a fake account, and they've put women on their profile picture and acting like they are women, and they've been asking for money. So that's the biggest turn off you can ever do. Don't ask money on the first sight. Like let them state clearly what they want with you. Because you're there asking someone for money. Who are you to them? Like we've just known each other on the dating app for like 1 week. You're not supposed to ask me for money, even if I'm a millionaire. So it's the same thing with the women asking men abroad for money. It's really usually a big turn off. So don't do that. Don't. Another thing I want to teach you about: don't send anyone nudes. Don't try that trick. Don't send anyone nudes. Like if you begin sending them nudes, if they're asking you to do so, you're making them think like you're desperate. And understand, like, how you train someone to treat you is the way they're gonna treat you in the long run. And guess what? You're just gonna get tired. You're gonna start saying, I'm tired of just sending you nudes, because maybe you're sending nudes expecting something in return, but that's not what he will do, because already he's asking you for nudes and you're sending it on the first sight. And then, in fact, like, always make it stoppable when someone asks you for nude and shit, because he's not your boyfriend, he's not anything, you're not into business, you know. I mean, if someone doesn't want you to ask them for money on the first sight because it's inappropriate, I think it's also inappropriate for them to start asking you for nudes, you know. I mean, that's your dignity, you know. They haven't stated clearly if they want to be your boyfriend, if they want to marry you. They have not yet come to Africa to visit you, they've not yet come to home to see you or anything. So don't make it a habit of start sending them nudes, because they're not gonna take you serious, you know. Like, don't even try to do that, you know, especially if he's not your boyfriend or anything. Don't do that, you know. State the motives clearly. Know if you want to be with this person, and ensure this guy is straightforward, showing you he wants to be the same to you, you know. Don't just start sending nudes, man. That thing usually makes you get treated like a hoe, and they'll start using it as a blackmail, you know, because they definitely know if you're sending nudes, immediately you're desperate for something, you know. And for them to make your mind think like they're gonna do something for you, they'll keep on asking you to send nudes. And because you want what you need from them, it's going to be like manipulation, you understand? So don't send nudes, you know. So another thing, just, okay, if it's anyone outside Africa or outside your country, especially outside Africa, in Europe or in America, make sure they come to visit you in Africa first, you know. You know why they should come to visit you in Africa first? Because under so many circumstances, if anyone is abroad and they're looking for women in Africa, definitely they're always financially stable, they're capable of paying for the tickets and shit. I mean, they're just well off, you know. I'm not saying necessarily like they're rich, but at least they can afford it. They can afford the trips more than you can, you know. So let them come to Africa, visit you. Let them come see your, if you let them come talk to your family. I mean, just make sure you introduce them to your family, you know, even if they're visiting you for the first time, because I believe no one would just come to Africa to visit you just to play some dumb games, you know, because, you know, buying ticket and traveling, blah blah blah, it's usually expensive. So for them to come to Africa, it must have meant like they want to try it out with you, or they want to be with you, you know. So make sure they come to Africa first. So don't be the naive girl who just want to go to another continent just to be with someone if they haven't even shown an interest of wanting to come to see where you live, how you breathe, how the government runs, how your family looks like, and so many of this shit, you know. Like, don't just be naive and too quick to be convinced. Let them come to Africa first, you know. This way you can avoid so many things, because there's a lot of killings, there is a lot of human trafficking and shit. At least this way it shows responsibility and accountability, you know. I'm not necessarily saying if they come it's like automatically gonna be safe for you, but it's one of the best method, you know. Because if you don't do this, it definitely means like you're just gonna be a naive person who just thinks things are just like fairy tale. You just want to go to visit someone else in another person's country. You wanna, you know, like, you cannot just trust people like that just because you're talking to them and they've said that they want to be with you on the dating app, you know. Yeah, like, people are never real when they text you, when they call you. But if you live with them, at least stay with them in the same house. I mean, see how they eat, blah blah blah. At least you can learn a thing or two from them, you know. And that will save you from a lot of unnecessary shit, you know. So just make sure they come to visit you first. If it's possible, I mean, just introduce them to your family, especially if it's a man. At least let them talk to your brothers and stuff if you have your dad. Yeah. Another thing, make sure they've shown the straightforwardness, you know. I mean, have a reason as to why you should trust them, you know, and don't just ignore anything. Like, I know nobody can be perfect, but don't assume anything. Like, ensure like everything is always clear, you know. Like, talking to them if you're seeing any red flag, you know. Like, ask them questions, you know. Like, you have to know if they were married before. Do they have any kids? Do they have any baby mamas? Do they have any ex-wives? You know, like, understanding these things is usually so important, because I mean, if someone is coming to Africa and you're trying to go to their country, most probably, you know, you're just gonna get married and shit, you know. Because I've seen the passport bros, like, they're trying to look for women in Africa for whatever reasons, of which is also not bad. It's a very good idea, but always make sure you know, like, those sensitive details, because you understand, if you ignore these things, they're always coming to be problematic, and really problematic later in the future, especially when the husband won't be available, you know. So you have to make things clear. Like, let them know, were you married before? Do you have any kids? And if you have kids, how are you associating with them? You know, like, it's just good to be open, you know, like this straightforwardness. I mean, let yourself be informed about everything. Like, you know, when you know these things, planning is easy. At least you're stopping your mind from coming to be shocked with certain reality in the future, you know. So let them be straightforward. I mean, learn everything from them. Know the things you're supposed to know, you know. At least also talk to his family, you know. Talk to his mom, his sisters, even if most family members are just gonna just gonna say the best things about their family members. I mean, just try to reach out to any of their family members, because I don't think it's good to be with someone in a long distance relationship, or someone who's trying to get you from Africa to go and be with them, and you're not conversing with their family, you know. It's just good to talk to them. I mean, no shit. Another thing is, well, if you're trying to avail yourself out there and you're trying to find someone on the dating app, don't just be on one dating app. Be at least in more than 2 dating apps, you know. And when you're in more than 2 dating apps, I think if you're an African woman, I don't think it's I think I'm just advising. It's my opinion, but it's not really something you must follow. But with this, I don't think we're supposed to, as African women, we're not supposed to pay for the standard charges, because okay, if you are being hunted, why are we supposed to pay for the dating app standard charges, you know? If the man is really looking for someone and is serious, I think he's supposed to pay for it, you know? Okay, depending with your struggles, but if you're a struggling person, I don't see the reason as to why you should be paying for that dating app, you know? Let someone who's abroad pay for it, because definitely okay, I don't know, but most women that I know that have tried dating someone from abroad, the men are always working, they're always having a stable job, and I believe you wouldn't try to pursue any woman in Africa, definitely, if you don't have a job or if you're struggling, you understand? So let them pay for the standard charges, you know. You're just supposed to avail yourself there. Talk to anyone you feel like. If you're comfortable with them, just talk to them. Like, see if they're your best of interest. See if they're what you want, their physical appearance, how they talk to you, you know, how they perceive of women in Africa. Yeah, so don't just pay for the standard charges. Let them pay, you know. Yeah, it will save you from a lot of desperation and shit. But I understand there's other women who also always feel like they're the ones who are supposed to pursue men. But if you feel like that, then just pay for the standard charges, you know. Yeah, pay for them, pursue whoever you want to pursue. But I feel like it's good for the guy to be the one doing so, especially if you're living in Africa. And then yeah, I think I've talked about so many things. And yeah, and then if you're on the dating app, like if you've been with someone for more than 3 months and they've been promising to do you stuff and they're not doing, I think don't just waste your time, you know. And then I know there on the dating app, people be like, I will do this for you, blah blah blah, and they're not even doing anything, you know. They don't mean their words. So don't be the one to be falling for those kind of trap, because some people are just liars, you know. They're just wasting your time, you know. They're not thinking of coming to Africa to see you. First of all, you're not supposed to be on dating app trying to pursue a woman in Africa if you're not financially stable, if you cannot afford for shit. Well, then I don't think you're supposed to be on the dating app, because coming in Africa, dating women in Africa is really expensive, because you are going to have to come to Africa to visit our family first before we think of moving in with you in another continent. So you're definitely not supposed to be on the dating app. I'm just letting you know about all this, you know, because how can you be looking for women abroad and you cannot even afford to be paying for the flights to come to Africa? Because definitely you don't think we're gonna start coming to you first. You're supposed to be coming to Africa first to visit our parents and shit, and that's culture, you know. So yeah, ciao.